will not be with us tonight. She's got
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think most of you saw what happened the other night, and it can be scary. I was able to talk with him the other day. He lives over in Smyrna, and he's doing well. He's at home. Doesn't remember anything that happened the other night, except for the words he spoke. And outside of that, though, the doctors are taking care of him. He's got an appointment set to get checked up on in the future to look for any abnormalities. But outside of that, he appreciated, the ability to speak and everyone checking up on him and the prayer that was offered.
Thank you, Commissioner Beverly. At this time, I'll call on our chaplain, Romel McMurray, for our prayer and our pledge. I think he's got a special guest coming with us tonight.
Good evening, Commissioners. Pastor Moses, if you come up, please. I'm going to lead the pledge this evening, but tonight I've asked Pastor Sean Moses. He's the pastor here in Murfreesboro of True Victory Church of 21 years. He has a wife, 3 sons, and owns 3 barbershops, and he's faithful and gives a lot to our community in regards to young children. So Pastor Sean Moses is going to lead the prayer for us this evening.
Let us bow. Eternal Father in heaven, before we ask you to do anything for us, we want to say thank you. Thank you for your grace. It's been so amazing in all of our lives. We all can look back over our life and realize it's not because we've been so good, but you've been too good to all of us. You've protected us from danger seen and unseen, and you constantly look beyond our faults and supply our needs. For that, we say thank you. Pray a special prayer over Miss Oliver. Be with her, Lord God. Go before her and make every crooked path straight and every rough edge smooth. We thank you for this meeting. We thank you for your presence right now. Lord God, we thank you for all you're doing in the lives of these leaders, that's a part of our great community. We know that it's not about us, it just involves us. So we ask for wisdom, we ask for knowledge and understanding, and Father, give us discernment. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. This time I'll call on our Rutherford County Clerk, Lisa Crowell, to call the roll.
Commissioner Oliver. Commissioner Piercy.
Here.
Commissioner Rather. Commissioner P.
Here.
Commissioner Davison.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Bush.
Present.
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner Phil Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Anthony Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Commissioner Paul Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Irvin.
Here.
Commissioner Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Dodd.
Here.
Chairman Phillips.
Present.
Commissioner McAdoo. Commissioner McMurray.
Here.
Commissioner Gooch.
Here.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yeah.
We have a quorum, 20 present.
Thank you, Lisa. This time I'll call on our Chairman Pro Tem Trey Gooch for the reading of our May 11th minutes. Trey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have reviewed these minutes along with the clerk and deputy clerk and others, find everything to be in order. Motion to dispense with the reading and approve them as presented.
We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor of approving those minutes, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you. This time we have on our agenda public comments. We've had 2 people to sign up. The first one is Daphne Baker, and her topic is red flag laws. Baker, are you here? If you would, please state your name, address, and you've got 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daphne Baker. My address is 1020 Tammy Sue Lane, Laverne, Tennessee, 37086. Thank you to Mayor, Chairman, and Commissioners, and all citizens in attendance for allowing me to come before you on today. I'm here in support of a prior resolution presented by Commissioner Oliver on order of protection laws in alignment with the governor's call to strengthen public safety. To the Commission and Public Safety Committee, I enjoin you again to look closely at the resolution in order for adoption in full. In the last week of school, my 16-year-old daughter was scared to attend and had to make up her final exam due to a threat of gun violence identified at her school, right here in Rutherford County. All of our children should be able to feel safe every day while at school, obtaining an education, not in fear of losing their life from senseless gun violence. Let's not wait until Covenant comes to our front door. The adoption of this resolution will send a vital and clear message that as a county, we stand united for our children and community in support of laws designed to keep our communities safe. Governor Lee has called for a special session again in order to strengthen public safety and help keep Tennessee communities safe. There is also a website allowing Tennesseans to engage their thoughts and give feedback. Our governor and his team recognize the importance of and urgency of this matter. Let's do our part in Rutherford County to adopt this resolution in support of common sense gun laws, displaying a united front in answering the governor's call to enhance public safety. This is an issue that we can fix with all parties working together. Let's choose our children's lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Next is Susan Allen. Her topic is our budget.
Now I'm set. Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. It's good to be with you again. We're almost at the end of the fiscal year. Lots going on. And it goes without saying that the budget process this year has been a bear. There's been a great deal of input from the public, and the Budget Committee seems to have looked at many ideas on how to avoid a property tax increase, to no avail so far. I see it as the problem is that we have three basic truths. One, our county has been a magnet for growth, resulting in the need to extend the services and infrastructure that we and the newcomers all alike expect. Two, the state legislature limits counties on our ability to raise revenue. And three, the biggest portion of county spending is for schools, again, because of growth. What has coalesced in my mind is that we as the public, the property taxpayers, need to pay more attention to the school department budget, especially the capital project expenses. I understand that our schools have had some real challenges this year, especially due to teacher shortages and the lack of classroom space. The real kicker when it comes to schools is the cost to buy land for new schools. Recently, the commission approved buying land at $85,000 an acre for proposed new schools, and the cost of new designs for schools as well as their actual construction. It is up to us, the folks paying for all this, to give our input on where we'd like there to be some savings in the future. Do we really need new designs for every school? Are all the bells and whistles, wide hallways, and soaring ceilings necessary to educate our children? Look at Central Magnet, the oldest of our schools, turning out the best educated in the county, the state, and the nation. Bottom line, we, the public, need to refocus our year-round attention on the school's building program and give our input as to how we would like our future tax dollars to be allocated. That aside, on another note, last month, the Rutherford Neighborhood Alliance praised Commissioner Beverly for holding a district meeting. Commissioner Reed corrected me in that he also had one that we didn't know about. And this Saturday, I understand that Commissioner James will also be hosting one. High praise for all who aren't waiting until the next election cycle to reach out to your constituents. 3 down, 18 to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Next on our agenda is elections and confirmations. I'll call on our steering vice chairman, Pettis Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Elections and confirmations. Item 1 brings to the attention of the Commissioners the election of requested notaries in Rutherford County for June 2023. Commissioners, listings of the notaries may be found on your iPad. Mr. Chairman, I move to confirm the elections of these individuals as Rutherford County notaries.
We have a motion and a second to elect the notaries. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 2, steering would like to confirm the reappointment of Faye Elam to the Board of Community Care of Rutherford County, CCRC, which is a 3-year term effective July 1st, 2023 through July 1st, 2026. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
Faye, you got a bunch of friends up here, it looks like. We've had a motion and a second to confirm Faye Elam to the CCRC Board. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion to approve Faye Elam carries.
Item 3, steering also wishes to confirm James Patrick Hale to fill a BZA vacancy, filling a retiring member's seat, term to expire October 2023. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to confirm Mr. Hale to the BZA vacancy. All those in favor of that confirmation, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 4, steering would like to confirm the reappointment of Jimmy Evans, David Waldron, and Larry Sims to fill 3 vacancies for the Industrial Development Board and the Health Education Facilities Board. These are 6-year terms beginning August 2023 through August 2029. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to confirm 3 appointments. I believe all of them are reappointments to the IDB Board. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you.
Item 5, steering also would like to confirm the reappointment of Cody York and Phil King for 2 vacancies for Lineball Library Board, which are 3-year terms beginning August 2023 through August 2026. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to confirm Cody York and Phil King to the Lineball Library Board. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion to approve carries.
Item 6, steering would like to confirm Steve Daniel, William Cope, and Anita Heron to fill 3 vacancies on the Juvenile Detention Board of Commissioners. These are 2-year terms to begin August 2023 through August 2025. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
I have a motion and a second to confirm Daniel, Cope, and Heron to the 2-year vacancies, 2-year term vacancies on the Juvenile Detention Board. All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 7, steering wishes to confirm Christopher Johnson to fill 1 vacancy on the Juvenile Detention Board of Commissioners for a 1-year term to begin August 2023 through August 2024. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Mr. Johnson to a 1-year vacancy on the Juvenile Detention Board. All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you.
Item 8, steering would like to confirm the reappointment of 3 planning commissioners, Lee Bogle, Marvin Whitworth, and Jim Thompson, to 4-year terms on the Rutherford County Planning Commission. These will begin August 2023 through August 2027. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
I have a motion and a second to reappoint Bogle, Whitworth, and Thompson to 4-year terms on Planning Commission. All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you.
And item 9, steering wishes to confirm the reappointment of Helen Colvin to the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority Board, which is a 5-year term to begin August 2023 and continue until August 2028. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
I have a motion and a second to confirm the reappointment of Helen Colvin to the Airport Authority Board. All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the business of elections and confirmations.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. Item G is a resolution to approve the consent agenda. I'll call on our Chairman Pro Tem, Trey Gooch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. There have been several requests to remove item 11 from the consent agenda, resolution regarding marker for the county courthouse. I am moving that to J4A under property management. If there's no other request, I'll move that we approve the consent agenda as presented, save item 11.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with moving of item 11 to property management presentation. Any questions or discussion? For this will be on the board. If you would, please cast your vote.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the vote.
20 yes.
Thank you, Lisa. No unfinished business. No public hearings tonight. Planning took the month off, it looks like. Item J, this is getting into our standing committee reports. Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee, Chairman Robert P.
Good evening. We actually got 3 budget amendments to look at, and the first one is number A, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the general fund be amended as follows. And this is from Human Resources to pay for testing for multiple government departments, fire, police, etc. Increase expenditures for evaluation and testing, $20,000. A decrease in unassigned fund balance of $20,000. Resolve this 15th day of June 2023. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
I have a motion and a second to approve item J1A. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the vote.
20 yes.
Item J1A passes.
The next is number B. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the general purpose school fund be amended according to the schedule attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim. Resolved this 15th day of June 2023. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
And I'd like to go ahead and explain what this is. This is actually a movement of $980,000 for renovation at Laverne High School, which they'll be working on hallways, ceilings, floors for that school. Now, I also wanted to make a comment, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
Have the floor.
This passed budget with one person voting no. That one person was me, and it wasn't because I didn't want Laverne to have the renovation, it's because of where this money is coming from. This money is coming out of our Fund 141. That's money that is shared. And in my opinion, it should be coming out of 177, which is money that is not shared. Here's the difference. The difference is it's going to cost us $167,000 more by taking it out of 141 because that money's already shared. Michael, did I explain that correctly? Anyway, I've made the motion, which this does need to be voted on. I'm just telling you why. Mine's going to say no when it comes up. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second to approve item J1B. Questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Commissioner Beverly.
what would the other fund, forgive me, I didn't jot down the number. What's that unassigned fund balance in that fund?
141 is where it's coming out of, I believe, or
That's what I'm going to, I thought that question
Mike.
Give me a second, I'll pull that up. I thought that question might come.
while he's looking, what I'm basically saying is, yes, I want to fund this. I just don't want to pull it out of that account. I wanted to pull it from the other account. The reason, and to be fair about that, the reason the school board didn't want to do that, they say they've got excess funds in these shared monies and they want to spend them because they've got so many projects out there. That's their reason behind it. Mine to that is, well, there's another $167,000 you could use. So.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you. While we're waiting, if I may. So 177 is the school maintenance fund, for lack of a better term, is the Dr. Bull and Nickel. And so the Health and Education Committee and the Budget Committee, with the exception of the chairman, approved to pull the money from 141 schools savings and not disrupt the long list of maintenance that's already earmarked inside the 177 fund. So this has been debated at several levels, and despite Chairman's wisdom in the nuance and the semantics of that, we have thus far approved it coming out of 141 and leaving 177 to fund the things that we've already appropriated for. Thank you.
And being chairman, I can't offer an amendment to this motion. I offered the motion as it came out of my committee. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Michael.
So I'm running up to see what it is as of right today. As of May 31st, when we closed the month, that fund balance in 177 was $3,604,575, and that was approximately 14% of expenditures. But I do believe we passed an amendment or a transfer in that fund, so I want to run it as of today to make sure I give you the most accurate number.
Thank you.
That still is accurate as of today.
Thank you.
Michael, please clarify which fund you're talking about.
You asked for the fund balance of Fund 177, correct? Or 141? That was 177.
Okay. It's coming out of 141 on the amendment.
141, I'm sorry. 141, that fund balance is $73,834,633. And that is 14.92% of fund balance, and that was as of May 31st.
And 177 is?
It's $3 million, is a little over 3.6 million, and that fund balance is also a little over 14%.
Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Gooch.
what you're saying is that because it's a shared money, if we use it from there, we'll have to give Murfreesboro City Schools $164,000?
That's correct. 167, I believe, was the number.
Is it already shared, or?
Let me clarify. Money in 141 is already shared before it gets there. So you would have had to have collected a little over, I believe it's a little over $1.1 million, right around there, to get 980,000 into 141, because all local revenues are shared into 141.
Well, but it's already shared.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm not understanding how this would cost us $167,000.
Because of, I think what, and I don't want to speculate, but I think what Chairman P is trying to say is, since this is for a high school, it doesn't have to be shared money, so generally you'll use shared money for an elementary school. So to generate this 980,000, instead of it being a dollar for dollar, you would have had to generate a little over 1.1 million to get this 980,000 into the Fund 141, because we share local revenues in 141.
But the difference, not to put words in your mouth, the difference in the cost to the county is $167,000 approximately.
That's correct, because we share a little over 14%. I don't have that exact ADA rate in front of me, but I think it's a little over 14%. It's how we get that difference.
Anyone want to hear from Dr. Sullivan? Dr. Sullivan, would you come forward?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and allow him to speak if you need it. So.
We got a motion and a second to suspend the rules to hear Dr. Sullivan. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Sid, and excuse my dress. I chose to go out to lunch dinner with my children today instead of go home and changing, so I apologize for that. Yes, sir.
The reason and rationale, 141, 177.
So the reason for our rationale is we looked at the large multitude of projects that we have in 177. We also had the largest amount of openings at Laverne High School. So if you're looking at savings, we had a savings because of teacher openings from Laverne High School. So to our board, it was my recommendation that we take money that was saved from that school to support that school to renovate instead of coming back before the body to ask for extra funding. Yes, our fund balance is over 14, 15% in 177. If we have a chiller go out at the very beginning of the school year, we very well may not have enough money to replace a chiller or an HVAC system with that fund balance in 177. So I definitely understand both perspectives. We were trying to save money that had already been allocated to us into our fund balance instead of having to request additional.
Questions for Dr. Sullivan? Thank you. Other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second to approve J1B as presented. Other questions or comments? For this, we're going to be on the board. Would please cast your vote.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the vote.
15 yes, 5 no.
Motion is approved.
Next on the agenda is item 1C, FEMA TEMA flood mitigation contract and related general fund budget amendments. A resolution, whereas Rutherford County applied for the Hazardous Mitigation Grant Program through the Federal Emergency Management Agency in November of 2019 to buy out property that had been impacted by flooding. And whereas 2 of the property sites were recently awarded for the program with total cost of $1,186,118.49, with a county match required of a 12.5%, which equates to $148,264.81, and the remaining portion from federal and state funds. And whereas the county will demolish the homes and the property would not be able to be built upon again. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and all other required officials of Rutherford County, Tennessee, be and are hereby authorized to execute a grant contract with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim for the Hazardous Mitigation Grant Program 4776-0005, and additionally, that the general fund be amended as follows to fund the county match portion of the grant, increase expenditures of transfer to other funds, $148,265, and a decrease in restricted fund balance of $148,265. Resolved this 15th day of June 2023. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
I have a motion and a second to approve J1C, FEMA Flood Mitigation Contract. Questions or comments? Commissioner James.
Just a question of understanding on this one. Our department didn't do anything wrong. We went with the information we had on hand, and yet we're still obligated to pay the 12.5%. That's the best negotiation we could come up with. And my understanding, because this is the first one I've had from watching the video of it, this is standard, correct? I just want to make sure, because it feels like we're giving money out to buy this to make the resident whole on a mistake that was none of the county's fault on this. So we're still paying.
I'll try to answer your questions.
And before you start, just to follow up with that, in addition, is the argument that, was I correct in when I read that this is land that we can't sell, we can't really use, what we have to maintain it in forever?
Well, yes to several of the questions, but Mr. Hughes is not here tonight, so I'll try to answer this the best I can. We have in the past done this. We have bought out property when we felt like there was a problem that the county did. I mean, most of that was done 40 years plus ago, when we didn't have a lot of the tools that we have now to check. On these particular ones, the federal government or FEMA does a flood map. All right. They stopped short of these properties. These properties should have been in, and more than likely would have been in, that flood map had it continued. They stopped it prematurely, in our opinion, and given that information, our engineering department says, okay, this will go. Through no fault of this owner, my understanding, it wasn't disclosed to him that there was flooding going on there prior to. It's in Commissioner Reed's district. He may can speak up to this if he'd like to, but this is something we've done in the past. You know, Mr. Hughes didn't want to stretch out any hope to this, but it's possible that the county may end up not paying anything on this. That's possible. That's not probable, but it's a possibility. As it is, you know, we're talking about 12%. These homes are not livable now. As far as what we can do, it's limited in the future. It can be used for recreation. We can't build any kind of long-lasting structure on there. You know, something that's in the flood zone, for instance, over at Oakland High, I know down on the ball fields there, you can use them for recreation. There's part of that floods there, but you can't put structures on there that could be damaged by flooding in the future. And yes, the way I understand it, we cannot sell that. We can lease it for certain uses, you know, maybe agriculture for grazing cattle or something like that. It could be used by the community for, say, ball practice, something like that. I notice we do have, so Phyllis is there. She could probably answer this much better than I could if you've got further questions. I would suggest suspending the rules, let her speak if you have more questions.
Commissioner Reed.
Chairman P's done a great job explaining exactly what we're talking about here. But this property, I don't know if you've looked at this and seen how long it has taken for this to get to this point right here. But this family has gone through this for a little over 3 years, dealing with a situation that, like today, every time a flash flood comes up, every time it rains, they don't know if they're going to have 18 inches of water standing in their living room. I have a weather station in my house where it tells me the humidity, it tells me the wind, it tells me everything. And there's been many nights I've sat there and watched that, and I could tell right quick I need to drive over to their house to see what's going on and what we're doing, and we can watch the water come up. But they've sat there and lived through this. They've moved furniture, they've headed out on trips, and then all of a sudden a weather forecast comes across, they have to turn around and come back. But they're a great family for that community out there. They've been involved with the Eagleville baseball team. They've been involved in the whole community out there. But you're exactly right for what this property can be used for now. It can be leased if somebody wants to lease it, but it has to be put out for bids to do so. But the only thing that can be placed on it is you might want to lease it to put some cattle on, which you would have to get them off that property pretty fast if it starts raining. If you wanted to put a soccer field there, you could put down permanent netting or permanent benches and things of that type, but it has to be done something like that. But you do have to put it out for bids, as said, and there's a certain limit, I think, of what you can actually even charge. So that's where it's at. This isn't the first time we've ever done anything like this. It's been a while since we've done it. I think the last time we done that was more homes than this. But it wasn't, not as Commissioner James has said here, it wasn't a situation with your planning commission. It was due to the fact that FEMA had not extended the floodplain to this area. They haven't done it yet, I believe is correct, isn't it, Phyllis? They haven't gone that far yet, even there. But you've got a planning commission that knows it's there, as well as we check further now. We have better ways than when it was first determined there. So as a commissioner out that way, this is a situation. Now you'll notice on here, I believe it shows 2 houses. There's only 1 house involved in this. So this will be divided in half, I believe is correct. Is that not right?
Phyllis, I'm thinking that this is the total for 2. Is that correct? You can nod or... You want to repeat what she said so the people at home can hear?
It's showing the 2 because there were 2 houses first asked for, but one of the houses has been sold. So it was sold. They didn't wait as long, and they got somebody to buy it. So actually, we were dealing with 1 house, but due to the fact that this is a FEMA contract, and we have to go on through this. If not, we have to start all over from the beginning again to deal with just the 1 house. So this is why you're looking at this.
Let me just add one particular comment. I've been on the Planning Commission for well over 30 years, and flooding was a common problem in this community 30 years ago. It is not now. Our attempts to improve engineering in the county has eliminated most of this. FEMA maps stopped short of this particular development, and I think it was only a development of 3 houses, if I'm not mistaken, back somewhere in the neighborhood of, 10, 12 years ago. And these people bought the house without any knowledge that the property was prone to flooding. They were in for a big surprise. This is an opportunity to help neighbors get out of an unacceptable situation. FEMA is accepting 75% of the responsibility. The state is accepting 12.5% of the responsibility. The county should be accepting 12.5% of the responsibility. That's what we're asking for, is to help neighbors out of an unattainable situation. So anybody else have any questions or comments? Once again, we have a motion and a second to approve item J1C, FEMA flood mitigation contract. All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Mr. Chairman, you'll need to vote on that one.
I'm sorry?
You'll need to call roll on this one.
I'm sorry. My bad. We did have a motion and a second, didn't we?
Yes.
I at least got that right, okay. Once again, I'm sorry. For this, we'll be on the board, so if you would, please cast your vote.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the vote.
19 yes, 1 no.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our budget, other than the item that was moved to the other committee. But I do want to mention our next meeting is June 21st at 5:30. I've heard it rumored that our budget meetings are some of the cheapest and best entertainment to be had in Rutherford County lately. But our next actual scheduled budget meeting is August the 10th. Since we are not planning on meeting in July, that is subject to change, however. But thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety, Chairman Pettis-Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, you have on your iPad there a interlocal agreement between Rutherford County and the town of Smyrna. This is a interlocal agreement dealing with the a agreement between our emergency medical services and the city of Smyrna. This is something we have done with our municipalities many, many times. It's time for us to have this renewed between Smyrna. It's primarily just explaining between the two entities about when something happens there, what each party will be doing and what each party is responsible for. We're very fortunate in this county to have the cities that we have, the way that our first responders work together, the way they all get together and do the things that they do, but it's important that we have some type of agreement on who's responsible for what whenever an emergency does happen. So you have that agreement there. It's shown as Exhibit A, and I will read the resolution dealing with it. Whereas the attached interlocal cooperation agreement between Rutherford County and the town of Smyrna for the provision of emergency medical and ambulance services within the town of Smyrna, a copy of said interlocal cooperative agreement being attached hereto is as Amendment A, Exhibit A, and incorporation with as linked as if set forward verbatim as in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the appropriate officials for and on of Rutherford County be and hereby are authorized to enter into and execute for and on behalf of Rutherford County for the interlocal cooperation agreement as presented. Resolved this 15th day of June 2023. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve item J2A. Questions or comments? We don't have to be on the board for this, so says our attorney. So if you would, we're going to just do a voice vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve item J2A, please say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. Next meeting for public safety will be June the 28th at 5:30. Item J3, Health and Ed, Chairman Philip Dodd.
No report other than our meeting is next Tuesday at 6 p.m. in these chambers, and we will take off in all likelihood the month of August. Excuse me, the month of July.
June 20th. Item J4, Property Management, Alan McAdoo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This particular resolution was on the consent agenda, and several has asked that it be pulled off, and I asked myself that it be pulled off because we have a resolution, and I think it's on your iPad, but I'm going to read this resolution, and then after I read the resolution, we're going to vote on it. Resolution. And this resolution is regarding the marker for Courthouse grounds, African American Heritage Society of Rutherford County. Whereas at its meeting on May 8, 2023, the Rutherford County Historic Courthouse Museum Board of Trustees made certain recommendations regarding the placement of a historical marker in the inner circle of the courthouse grounds with certain language inscribed thereon regarding the sale of the enslaved, and whereas the Property Management Committee has recommended approval of this recommendation by the Rutherford County Historic Courthouse Museum Board of Trustees for said historical marker, and whereas the language to be inscribed on said historical marker as recommended by the Rutherford County Historic Courthouse Museum Board of Trustees shall read as follows. In remembrance of the African American men, women, and children who were auctioned as slaves at the Market House on the Rutherford County Courthouse steps on the square of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the African American Heritage Society of Rutherford County is committed to lightening the pathway of our ancestors and sharing our rich heritage and history for future generations. Whereas the African American Heritage Society of Rutherford County will donate said historical marker to Rutherford County. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that said historical marker, as recommended by the Rutherford County Historic Courthouse Museum Board of Trustees, and the placement of the same in the inner circle of the courthouse grounds shall be and hereby is approved. Resolved this 15th day of June 2023, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve item G11. That is the resolution regarding the marker for courthouse grounds. Questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm on property management, and I made the motion to support this. Had conversations with the historical committee. Bill Jakes is their president and our local historian. We felt like this was compatible with what is around this square. It allows us to have some diversity, and it also, in my opinion, sort of rounds off, sort of fills up the space that's appropriate for historical markers. So if there's any fear that the other markers are going to we're going to be inundated with other markers, I think we have an easy way to say we're full, if we so choose. So I'm in support of this. I was in support the first time, the second time, and seeing it here at the full floor, I continue to be in support of this motion.
Other questions, other comments? Commissioner Rather.
Now that Commissioner Dodd has spoken, and thank you for your enlightening us, my concern has been a precedence. Where does it end? That all the inner circles full of all kinds of markers. So there's comments that have been made in the past about kind of, you know, we all talk about diversity, and I'm 100% behind that, but there were comments made about division, which I totally understand. I get that. So if, right now, I don't want to support it just for that reason, because it could cause other division eventually and set a precedence for whoever else 5 years from now wants their own marker, whatever group's marker. But this is part of history, so I could support it if we do this and then decide this is all we're doing. No more. Because, in your words, Commissioner Dodd, we're pretty full up at that point, correct? And that, okay.
That argument could be made. I'm not making
Well,
that
It
motion
could be
argument.
made, but the Property Management Committee didn't make it.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm just concerned about what's coming next year, the year after, and who knows where it's going to end, if it ever does. So I don't want to cause further division, especially in this county. Our entire country is divided in several different groups. So if there's a way, and I don't know if there is, that we say we're going to do this and we're going to kind of end markers, I'm good, but right now it's just, I've had several people that, all sides, that don't think it's a good idea, and honestly, I don't either. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mayor Carr.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, Anthony. Commissioner Johnson.
This came through our committee, and we voted to send it on to the Historical Society, or forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, but it's the society that's over what happens with the museum here, the Courthouse Museum.
Correct.
This is a part of it. It's what we're talking about. Sent that on. It's been back time and again. I'm all in favor of doing this. It's up to the people that are over control of the courthouse museum is what they want here and what they approve or consider relevant or needed. I'm not worried about what's coming down the path of overcrowding. That's up to them. That's their job. That's why they were put on this committee. So I'm going to leave it up to them, and that's what we've done. Now it's back before us to either vote it up or down, but I'm definitely voting for it. I'm all for it. We need more. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Mayor Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to address Commissioner Rather's concerns directly because I share your concerns in that regard, and I can assure you that the Office of the Mayor is responsible for the Rutherford County public buildings and those grounds, and the proliferation of markers is a concern. Just like I'm concerned about the proliferation of events that happen on the courthouse grounds that tax these facilities for which they were not designed for. Having said that, this is an extremely important piece of history that deserves recognition. And I hope this body will vote in favor of the placing of this marker. I have worked with Ms. Watkins in the Historical Society on a placement for this marker so it doesn't add to the unnecessary proliferation of markers. I can't imagine where we would put another one after this. I will tell you this, that I'm working, as you may or may not know, we're working on opportunities to establish a permanent, larger facility to house all the historical artifacts that this county has, close to the square. And it's something I hope to achieve in the next 2 to 3 years. That's not a promise, it's just a hope and an ambition. We have some opportunities to do that I hope to bring before this body at the appropriate time. But I hear your concerns. I agree with your concerns, and I hope in light of that, this body will still approve this invaluable piece of history to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Carr. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I just want to
Commissioner
stand to
McMurray.
say as well, I fully support this. I attend numerous events on the courthouse grounds, Friday Night Live, Saturday morning markets, and there's all types of diversity of people, and I see those individuals reading what we already have. And I feel like this is just something that an added plus positive to our grounds. And so I hope everyone will be in full support of it as well. I feel like, I know the word division was put forth, but I feel like if we're a unified body and we show love amongst one another, that will flow down the river, as my grandmother would say. So I fully support this.
Thank you. Commissioner Reed. Chairman Reed.
I currently serve on the board of the Rutherford County Historic Museum here, and we went through all of this with the marker and what the marker would look like. And I think when the marker is finished and completed, when Miss Mary's group out there completes that and gets that done, I think you're going to be very much impressed with it and what it will be. They've got some great ideas, and I think what they finalized, what it'll be, and the wording will be on there. I think everybody will appreciate it. It'll go quite well with our museum, and a lot of people don't understand that the inside area of this courthouse is part of the museum when we approve that. So I think you're gonna like what's there. And just like all of you have been saying here, no, we don't want this to turn into just a bunch of markers out here. It's not what this courthouse is all about. Every now and I have become a tour guide up here of this courthouse. You might come up here someday. I'm gonna get me a little hat to wear, I think. But I had a group of ladies up here the other day that I showed them around the courthouse and gave the history of it. And then we got our county historian out here. He does the same thing every so often. He has people that we're very proud of this building. We're very proud of the history of Rutherford County, and no one is intending whatsoever to take anything from it. And it's for all the people of Rutherford County. And I mean all the people. No one is to be singled out. And we appreciate Ms. Wyatt and her group and what they're doing there. I've tried to express this to people about the monument that they're going to put there. They're paying for it. And I think that's important, that what we're doing here, and we appreciate them doing that.
Thank you, Commissioner Reed. Anyone else? We're ready to vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I recommend roll call vote.
we'll be on the board. Please cast your vote.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the vote.
19 yes, 1 no.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman McAdoo. The Property Management Committee meeting for June 22nd has been canceled. Correct. And your next meeting is July 27th.
That is correct.
Very good. Thank you. Item J5, Public Works and Planning, Chairman Mike Cush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no report tonight, and we currently do not have a July meeting on the books, so August 8th is our next scheduled meeting at 5:30.
Thank you, Chairman. Steering Legislative and Governmental Committee, Chairman Craig Harris.
Commissioners, state of Tennessee passed a law where now all of our committees had to have public comments. And this resolution's, I'm going to go ahead and read it. Whereas the County Commission previously adopted a public comment policy via resolution at its regularly scheduled meetings on January 11, 2001 that pertained to public comments at meetings of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners. Whereas the General Assembly recently enacted legislation, Public Chapter number 300, regarding public comments at public meetings of a governing body. Whereas it is necessary and appropriate to update the county's public comment policy in light of the aforementioned legislation and make the same applicable to county commission meetings, standing committee meetings, and meetings of other county boards and committees. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the following updated public comment policies applicable to the county commission meetings, standing committee, and meetings of other county boards and committees as follows. For the meeting of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners and its standing committees, speakers may request to speak at the public meetings for the same by having their names placed on a sign-in form by 4:30 p.m. on the date of the public meeting in the county mayor's office. For all other county boards and committees, speakers may request to speak at the public meeting by having their names placed on a sign-in form by 4:30 p.m. on the day prior to the said meetings in the county mayor's office. For all sign-in forms, the speaker's name and subject matter will be listed on the sign-in form. No more than a total of 30 minutes may be devoted to speakers who wish to speak during public comment period. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes to speak, with the chairman of the respective governing body keeping a time with a timer. If there are more than 10 speakers, 30-minute time period shall be divided by the number of speakers. The 30-minute time period may be extended by majority vote of the respective governing body. Speakers may not share or yield their time to another in order to consolidate or expand the maximum time of any speaker. Except for meetings of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, all public comments at standing committee meetings or any other county board or committee shall be germane to the items on the agenda for the meeting. For meetings of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, the commission chairman will call on speakers to speak after the reading of resolutions of sympathy and appreciations. For all other county boards and committees, the public comment period shall be placed on the agenda immediately following the reading and approval of the minutes. This is intended to be a public comment policy and not a question and answer policy. Resolved this 15th day of June 2023. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Before we get into discussion, our County Attorney Nick Christensen has a few comments.
Yeah, just one. Just wanted to bring to light, there was one change that had to be made from what was presented at the steering committee, and that was more of a logistical concern. It turned out that a lot of the other boards and committees, they don't meet at 5:30. Some of them meet at 10 a.m., some of them meet at 1 p.m., and so having a sign-up sheet to be done by 4:30 the day of the meeting wouldn't be possible because the meetings would have already occurred. So you'll notice that for those other boards and committees, the sign-up time is by 4:30 the day prior to the meeting, but still with county commission meetings and standing committee meetings, that remains 4:30 the day of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second to approve item J6A, Public Comment Policy Resolution. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. Steering Committee is scheduled to meet on August the 7th. I believe they're taking July off. Brings us to the end of our agenda. And let me just go ahead and say that our next meeting is Monday, the 26th of this month. And that's when we have our annual meeting. We'll set the property tax rate that day. Prior to that, Commissioner Pay's already mentioned Wednesday, the 21st of June, is when the Budget Committee will make its recommendation of a property tax rate that they will present to the full commission on the 26th. So our next meeting will be a 9 a.m. Monday morning meeting on June the 26th. Shout-outs. Anybody got anything?
Chairman, I'd like to give a shout
Commissioner
out
McMurray.
to all the fathers here. So happy Father's Day. Just in case someone may forget to say happy Father's Day. So hopefully you'll get more than a mug, t-shirt, and tie and all this. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Commissioner
Just
James.
want to remind people that my district, I've got a town hall going Saturday night, 6 p.m. at the Annabelle Fire Department on 1 Mile Lane, 6 p.m. on Saturday night.
Thank you, Commissioner James. Chairman Pro Tem.
I have two shout-outs, Mr. Chair. I would like to shout out Commissioner Greg Harris. I heard him speak, an interview on the WGNS, and I didn't know this, but he's well-spoken and seemed very educated, and kind of, I had to go like this. I said, what's going on here? So I do want to shout that out. And also I'd like to shout out Commissioner McMurray for inviting Brother Moses to do our prayer, and a very beautiful prayer. I understand Brother Moses owns some barber shops, so I assume that Commissioner McMurray met him at church and not the barber shop.
That's cold-blooded right there.
I don't have too much for him to report.
Let me just go ahead and shout out and mention the emergency responders, the Sheriff's Department, and other commissioners that were here. Commissioner Beverly especially jumped in last Tuesday afternoon when we had a scary episode at our Budget Committee meeting and responded, and it came to an excellent conclusion. Those that offered up prayers for the individual that had the episode, thank you for lifting that man up, and I'm positive that it led to that positive conclusion, or one of the things that helped. So thank you very much. Anything else? Any other shout-outs? Let me just say you guys will probably be answering a lot of questions from neighbors as it relates to the property tax rate. As it currently stands from our Budget Committee, it's a little over 26 cents, and that will be discussed further at the next Budget Committee meeting before it is presented. So if you have input, I would encourage you to attend that committee meeting and have input there. A lot of the money that is proposed on the budget, and Mayor Carr has worked really hard on it. Our departments have worked really hard on it. Our school board has worked really hard on this budget, and it's a huge, huge budget, and I realize that. There have been a couple of alternatives that have been made, and that's what we're looking for. If you have an alternative, if you're against the property tax rate or the proposed increase, and if you have comments, make sure that they're known at the Budget Committee meeting if you have alternatives. I've just made a couple of notes, and I'm sure you probably already have these, but looking at surrounding counties, Williamson County has a AAA bond rating. Their certified rate is $1.88, and their general fund balance approaches 70%, 67%. Hamilton County, which is really close to our size now, has a property tax rate of $2.23, and their general fund balance is at 46%. Sumner County is $2.26, and their fund balance is at 40%. Wilson County is at $1.90, and their fund balance is at 41%. Rutherford County currently is at $1.61, and our fund balance is currently at 38%. The proposed tax increase would take us up to $1.87 with a general fund balance of 26%, which would put us about 1% over the minimum requirements, if I'm not mistaken.
I need to clarify one thing. It was 20. We are currently at 26% as of May. At the end of May, we ended last year at, I believe it was 38%.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And a lot of what we're talking about is things that we have very little control over. We have very little control over the cost of building. Just give you an example, 10 years ago, and I pulled it out simply because it was 10 years ago, Stewart's Creek High School, the addition to that or the expansion of that was $1.28 a square foot. Last year, the Rockville Elementary Annex was $2.65 a square foot, and the proposed expansion of our high schools is $3.30 a square foot. So in the last 10 years, it's tripled just the cost of building, and that is huge. I'm sorry.
It should be 128. Those are in hundreds. So the current high schools were around $300 a square foot for the new high schools.
Did I say it wrong? I meant to say it right. I've got it right on my notes. $3.30 a square foot is what the $330 a square foot. I guess I should probably stop while I'm ahead. It also looks like our bond rate was looks like 1.6%. The money we borrowed in 2021, and this year it's anticipated somewhere in the neighborhood of 4%, from 3.75% up to 4.5%. Those are all the reasons that we're looking at such an increase. And let me go ahead and say, just looking 10 years ago, our property tax rate was $2.46. Currently, it's $1.61. And if you also look at some of the things that we're talking about, public safety is huge when we're talking about planning for the future. Not only have we built public safety buildings, but we're manning those buildings with full-time firefighters, which affects our ISO rating and saves the taxpayers a lot of dollars when it comes to insurance. And if I'm not mistaken, we've given huge salary increases to public safety servants, our sheriff's deputies, and also it's in the neighborhood of 15%, if I'm not mistaken. Michael, is that correct?
Last year was an 18, I believe it was an 18% lift to the table, or approximately 18% lift to the table, which resulted in approximately a 20% increase for public safety last year. This year in the budget is a 3.25% lift to the table, which will equate to a 5% this year.
Thank you. So we've increased awareness of our need for police protection and fire protection and ambulance services. And we've done that for a number of reasons. Number one, it's the right thing to do. Number two, we were losing those public servants because other people were offering them more. Not only were we losing them, but we didn't have applications to fill those positions. So we had to do something, and that's what we've done. And a lot of what we're anticipating going forward, we've accomplished in this budget. So if you can communicate those things, or try to communicate those things to your constituents, whether or not you support the tax increase. But those are some of the reasons. Education and public safety are the two big items that we're trying to get behind us. And I hope I said that right, Commissioner P. And if I get the $3.30 a square foot versus $300.30 a square foot, if you just think about that, it's mind-boggling. But it's the world that we're facing and the world that we have to live in, and the services that we're required by the state to provide an education for our kids. Anybody have anything else? Once again, thank you for your patience, your time, your attendance, and your participation tonight. We're adjourned. I'll see you on the 26th.